What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna go over exactly what double closing is in wholesaling real estate, coming up next. If you've spent any time wholesaling real estate, you've probably heard of the double close. If you're new, don't worry, we're gonna go over it completely, but basically it's a way for the wholesaler to hide their assignment, to keep it hidden from both parties, the seller and the buyer. But is it even legal? How do you even do it? And how can I get funding to do it if I want to do it? Stick around to the end because I'm going to show you how you can get all of your deals funded really simply. So what is a double close? It's exactly what it sounds like. You have your contract with the seller. That's what's considered the A to B contract. And what you're gonna do is you're actually gonna close on that first transaction. So I'm gonna say you're gonna bring the money and actually close on the A to B contract. Let's say it's $100,000. You're gonna give the seller $100,000. You're gonna close for an hour, maybe a day, maybe even 2 days up to like max. And then you're going to sell that to the end buyer for $150,000. So then the buyer comes in, and this is what's called the B2C transaction, and he's gonna pay $150,000, and then he's gonna take that and flip the property. Why would you even do that? Well, if you were following the numbers on the first half, I paid $100,000 for the house, and then the buyer comes in and pays me $150,000. So that's basically a $50,000 assignment. Now, why would you do that? Well, sometimes if you're promising the seller, you know, a certain price and you're saying this is as much as I can give you, and then they see on the closing statement, if you just do a normal transaction, that you're gonna be making $50,000, they may have a problem with that the day of the closing. It might blow up. Same thing with the buyer. Now, this is a reason why you want to always be vetting buyers and always be building your relationships with them. But a lot of buyers have the mentality that I'm only going to spend $10,000, maybe $15,000 max on this deal. So if you're making $50,000 and then he's got to put up all the risk of, you know, bringing in the contractors, flipping the property, having it sit on market, dealing with hard money, and he's only going to make 60 grand, then he might have a problem with that. I mean, to me, that's just a mindset thing. If you're going to be a flipper and the numbers work out for you, then you should be able to pay this guy whatever he wants. But some people have a problem with that. So that's where the double close comes in. Now, is it even legal? Yes, it is. Although I have talked to a few title companies that have a problem doing it, and they've blamed it on their accounting department, they blamed it on state regulations, and maybe there are some state regulations that say you actually have to take title to the property for a certain period of time before you can double close. But if you go around and you ask and you go into the Facebook groups, heck, even reach out to me, I can send you to title companies that are very familiar with the double close. It really shouldn't be that problem. All you're doing is closing it A to B, let's say at 10 a.m. and then, you know, the buyer comes in and then you got the second transaction set up. He's ready to sign at 4 p.m. Boom, boom, both transactions happen and you get your fee and all is good in the world. Now, here's the other part of the equation that you're gonna need to come up with. Since you're closing on the first part of the transaction, you're gonna need to come up with $100,000 to cover that, the A to B contract. Where are you gonna come up with that? Well, there's a service called Transactional Lending that a lot of wholesalers use, especially bigger wholesalers that can really get that spread, that are used to doing the double close. They will use transactional lending, transactional funding, and they'll have somebody that will lend the money, the $100,000 for a couple hours. You know, sometimes it's a couple hours, sometimes it's 24 hours. And then, you'll usually pay between 1% to 2%, 1.5%, depending on what you have it worked out with. And then, once the second half gets funded by the buyer, then the transactional lender gets made whole, and then you get to collect whatever is left over. So it's a great service. It's really easy to use. I've done it many times. Now, here's an amazing thing, and I'm glad you guys are sticking around to the end, is I'm now offering transactional lending. We've been flipping over the past couple years. I know how important this service is, and when you need it, you really need it fast, because usually you'll see, okay, I'm selling this for $100,000, now I got a buyer lined up for 150. I have come up with the equation, anything over 30, I'll usually use transactional lending, just so nobody gets weird about how much I'm making in the middle. So, you know, if you need transactional lending, I want you to check out in the description box. I have a link down there below where you can get lending really fast. We're also doing EMD lending, which is earnest money deposit lending, but that's going to be another video. On this video, I want to focus on the double close and why it's so important and how you can use it in your business to make sure that you keep the relationship with your buyer and your seller kosher, so the whole transaction gets to the closing table and nothing goes sideways. Have you ever used a double close? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear about all your stories about when you haven't used it. Maybe you got a crazy assignment and everybody got pissed at you for some reason. Let me know down below. If you're new to wholesaling and you want to further your education, or you want to get in a kick-ass group, check out WholesalingStartupClub.com. It's a completely free community that I started to get you on your next deal or your first deal. So jump on in there, link up with some really cool wholesalers, and let's keep it going. As always, make sure you subscribe, like the video. I'll see you on the next one.